One of the things I want to be able to talk to you tonight, I mentioned the other day this aspect of actually living by a code, and then also talked a little bit about the game, how we actually structure and filter things through life to be able to work from one level to the next level. Well, I want to bring another piece to that because I had several people that are asking questions of like, hey, how does this actually work on like the self-care part? How does this actually work on me actually working on myself? How do I actually start putting all these pieces together? Well, what I described the other day was called the code. And also, I talked about impossible games, which is this idea of talking about where you are to where you want to be. So, first, we have to lay out and we have to figure out where you actually at. Where are you at right now? And this first starts off with understanding the facts of the frame that you're currently living in, how you're actually living, how you're actually showing up on a day to day basis. Is your life currently for you right now? Is it working or is it not working? Which is it? Is it working or not working in the area of your body, of how you actually, of how your body's functioning, of how it's moving, of how it's developing? Is it working in your area of being, your spirituality, your meditation, how you're connected to a higher power? Is it working the aspect of your balance? That would be the people that you have in your life, your husband, your wife, your kids, your family. Is it working in that regard? And is it working in business? Like, what does it actually look like? So you get the facts about where you currently are. Then we talked about where we're currently going down the road, of where we're actually looking for the freedom that you so desire, of being liberated from the place of bondage and scarcity that you're currently in, and being able to live as a powerful producer in your life, standing as a beacon of light and leading others. So we look at the facts of where you currently are, and then also the freedom of where you want to be 6, 12 months down the road. Then we bring it into a focus of what is your actual focus over the next 30 days. How are you going to get there? What are the first steps that you're going to do? We're not looking down the road. We're looking at 30 days. Where are you going to be for the next 30 days? And inside that focus, we develop 4 weekly fires. And these fires are, what do I need to do this week to be able to move me forward? What do I need to do this week to be able to move me forward? And step by step by step to actually reaching forward and getting to the impossible games, the version of you that you actually want to unlock. So how does this tie into everything? This ties into a big piece that people ask me a lot of times of like, what does this look like of like this self-care? You talk about this confidence, this clarity, this power, this sense of purpose. Like, where does this actually stem from? It stems from this process called the Core 4. And I'm going to break it down for you. We use software inside the communities that we work in, but you can even do this even if you listen to it today, acknowledge it, and start writing it down of like, hey, this is what the Core 4 actually is. Okay. The core 4, when we break it down of how you actually work on you, of how you develop your sense of confidence, clarity, purpose, and direction, the core 4 breaks it down into 4 different things: body, being, balance, and business. Now, when we break these down, it starts to be a daily progression that you're investing back into you in all 4 of these areas. In all 4 of these areas, it also gives you a point. So it's like a gamified system of life that I focus on, that I use every single day. Let me talk about them really quick, step by step. And if any of these resonate and you're like, I want to know more about this, shoot me a DM. Okay, when we break these 4 down in the core 4, the first one is body. This one is broken up into 2 sections: fitness and fuel. When we're talking about this, it's like, hey, what did you actually do today that actually made you sweat? That was actually you moving your body. That was you burning calories. Because when you start to create this energy of you actually working out and putting this time and effort into growing you, you also build your confidence of you actually showing up for you. So the first section of this is fitness. You get half a point for your fitness. The second part is fuel. You get half a point for fuel as well. When we talk about this aspect of fuel, we're talking about what you're actually putting in your body. For me, a lot of times it is daily greens, of being able to put something back into my body that I normally have a deficiency of. That's the greens, the vitamins, the things I'm doing. Okay, so as you're listening, you're like, okay, yeah, I get this. This is self-care. This is what actually helps you stand in a place of saying, hey, I'm actually showing up for myself every single day, because you're tracking it. You're actually helping yourself move forward in this resolve. So with body, breaks it up into half points. You have fitness, then you have fuel. Then we have the aspect of being. Being is talking about your spirituality, your connectedness to a higher power. For me, that's God. That's how I connect with God on a day-to-day basis. It's through 2 things underneath being. It's meditation and it's memoirs. With meditation, it's like my time with God. It's not sitting down and just reading the Bible. It's not sitting down and writing a bunch of stuff about the Bible. It's me sitting down and getting clear so I can actually receive what I'm supposed to receive. This practice happens every single day, right around 4:30, no later than 5 o'clock in the morning, where I'm up and I'm actually sitting there. I'm either silent or I'm in a music meditation, whatever it might be, for at least like 15 to 20 minutes. And I'm there and I'm open, being like, hey, what do I actually need to receive? What do I actually need to hear? And then out of that, I normally move into an exercise that we call stacking, which is starting to break down my thought process of like, what did I hear? What did I get? How am I going to implement this in my life? Meditation and then memoirs, writing it down, actually implementing it into my life. So each of those equals a half point. So you have body equals 1 point for the day. You have being, meditation, memoirs, half point each, which equals the second point for the day. Then we move into the aspect of balance. Now, for a lot of people, balance would be person one, person two, which sometimes would be your partner and then also your posterity, your kids. I normally don't talk about it that way because the majority of people that I'm working with on a day-to-day basis, they are in an abusive relationship. So it doesn't make sense, and I would never encourage you to invest time and energy into someone who's toxic and abusing you. Okay? So we phrase it person one and person two. Now, what that looks like on a day-to-day basis is person one oftentimes is you actually developing a positive relationship with you. You actually building yourself up. You actually working on doing things that actually bring you joy, that bring you fulfillment. This could be a hobby. This could be going on a date night with yourself. This could be actually doing something that's helping you work on you. Okay. The second one, a lot of times, is another person. So this would be either your kids, this would be a family member, this would be another person that you want to cultivate a relationship with. Basically, it's you investing into other people. Okay. So it breaks it down into two people, person one, person two. This all goes under the balance category. So as we're doing this aspect of self-care, which is putting yourself into a place of power and consistency, this is where we develop confidence, clarity of who you actually are and the direction you're going, because we're saying we already identified where we are, where we want to go, and then we back it up with the day-to-day stuff that comes into this aspect called the core four. Okay, so breaking it down, you have body with half point each, fitness and fuel. Then you have being, half point each, meditation, memoirs. Then you have balance, half point each, person one, person two. So if you do all 6 of those things so far, you get 3 points for the day. Then we move into the fourth and final piece, which is business. Business breaks down into 2 sections as well, both a half point each, which is discover and also declare. Now, when we talk about discover and declare, discovering is you actually working on learning and developing you in the area of producing money. In the area of you actually growing and being a producer, to be there for your family, to be there for how you actually want to live, how you want to grow, and the lifestyle that you actually want to have. So with this discover piece, you're not just consuming information for consumption's sake. That's pointless and it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so don't just read a book because you're like, oh, I need to read a book. You're like, no, I need to learn about this so I can actually grow in this area. Okay, and now we're going to learn. So you dive in. Let's say you read a book. You start reading a book. You get halfway through the first chapter and you're like, that's it. That's what I need to actually work on. Stop there. Stop reading past that. Stop right there. That is the nugget you need to learn. That is the discovery. Then you take that discovery and then you go to the second point, which is declare. Then that means you're either writing it down, you're implementing it, you're integrating it into your life, you're delegating it, you're declaring it, you're saying it to other people, you're saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do about it. Because if you just learn a bunch of shit, but you don't actually apply it, is pointless. So to wrap all this up so it makes sense to everybody, we're talking about you're looking at this is where your frame is. This is where your current facts are of where you currently are. This is the place you want to go. This is your freedom. Down the road, this is who you want to be. We break it down into 30 days. We break it down even smaller into the weeks, break it down even smaller into the days. And then we start living on a daily basis, practicing this thing called the core four, which is you actually developing you. And this is in 4 different categories. Okay, so if you're listening to this, like write this down so you understand how to actually follow through. DM me if you want to know more information of how we track this, how we put this in software, how we can actually show you over a period of time you've been growing, you've been changing, you've been developing. So as you look at this, the core four breaks it down. Body, fitness. Did you sweat today? Fuel. How are you actually fueling your body? Did you drink your daily greens, your supplements? Then you move into your being. Meditation. Did you actually meditate? Get silent and figure out what you're supposed to hear. Memoirs. Did you actually stack? Did you actually journal? Figure out what are you actually putting on paper based on what you heard. Then you move into balance. Person one, maybe that's you, maybe that's your partner, maybe that's one of your kids. Person two, same thing. You're doing a daily investment into the other people, daily deposit into other people's lives. Then you move into business, which half point is discover what are you actually learning to help you grow, change, and develop you in the area of business and producing, and then declare how are you actually putting it together and putting feet to what you're actually learning so it's implemented, integrated, delegated, communicated, whatever it might be. This is the process that I learn and that I teach and that I show and that I live every single day by using these tools every single day to put me in a place of confidence, clarity, power, certainty of understanding who I am, the direction I'm going, and how to be able to live this way from now, of where I currently am, to where I want to go down the road.